You go back to page 14, the description in the previous sentence. All in her pointed to a nobler kind. Kind is race. She is not quite like others. She is human, she has put on a human body, but everything else in her is not an average, commonplace person. If we look at our own selves, we see that we are very mixed people. There are things in us that are strong, aspirations, hopes, dreams. There are long periods when we forget, when we allow ourselves to sink in laziness or falsehood or things that are even worse. We accept that, yes, I am a human being, so I have my frailties, my weaknesses. There are moments also of aspiration, maybe, or some kind of love and devotion. It's not that we are wholly made of the elements of darkness, but there is a tremendous sense of being mixed. And then the worst part is that there's an acceptance of this. We accept that, yes, after all, I'm a human being, I'm not a god. So I'm not perfect. Well, in Savitri, she is not like that. She is wholly, totally an embodiment of force, light, truth, love, because she has come down on the earth for that reason. Her grace, her love has come down to lift up the earthly race. She cannot be, compared to the average human being. She is not an average being. She has not come down for herself. She has not come down to evolve or to rise from the lower to the higher levels. She has come down from the heights, accepting the earth nature, accepting that the earth life will give all kinds of impediments and obstructions to the tasks that she has taken on. Knowingly she has come down. And so the emphasis is on love. It's a grace. She doesn't need to change herself. We are here to change ourselves. She's put on humanity as a robe, but she's come to change the race. Therefore, she is unlike the rest. Usually, as I said earlier, this is one of the main characteristics of the central person in an epic. It is not like the others. It has to be different. So, ardent was her self-poised, unstumbling will. It's a marvelous line. Ardent really comes from the Latin or the Italian word ardere, which means to burn. So she is as if a flame. This flame, we often have a flaming ambition or a will which helps us to proceed forward to some extent. She is not somebody who is pushed by some desire or some ambition which she has to achieve. She finds the strength of light, of force within her. Something that does not push her towards a greater light. She is an embodiment of light. Therefore, her will doesn't stumble. It's not, today I am aspiring, tomorrow I am tired. Constantly, how much the Mother has done for us. How much she has been constantly pushing us forward, in spite of the fact that we don't remember her, we don't always care to progress, we don't always think of changing ourselves or the life in our nature. When we think of change, we try to think that we will change the world. You can't change the world. You start with yourself. The person who is at the center of your world is yourself. If that person has all kinds of complexities and impurities, automatically that will radiate. So it has to be that the central person, yourself, has to be a being of constant force. Poise. Poise is quiet, strong but quiet, not excited, not really sudden enthusiasms that take over sometimes in our lives. Unstumbling, constant will. The next line is even more difficult. Her mind, a sea of white sincerity. Passionate in flow, had not one turbid wave. Thought waves come, dreams come, ideas come, they go. Sometimes they are beautiful, then they fade out, you accept one of the most terrible things, you say common sense, you can't change anything, let's accept the world as it is, let us make the best of whatever we are. She does not allow any form of impurity, imperfection to flow into her mind. Thought is a force that comes from outside. It enters your mind. It becomes the starting point of action. After the thought, you can put that thought into action. Now, if there is insincerity, there is division. We often cheat ourselves. We say, this is what I am, but deep down inside, I know that I am not only that, there's something else in me which is not beautiful, which is dark, which is ugly, which is imperfect, and I can't help it, that's how I am. Sincerity is the most important characteristic Mother stresses on all the time. If you want to do anything, if you want to achieve anything, the first absolute characteristic and quality is sincerity. It is simply oneness, no division, no acceptance of cheating oneself. One has to be completely transparent. What one is on the outside, one is on the inside. And so when you get the sense of force, the ocean is simply a world of force that is always flowing. To have a mind that is constantly flowing with power, the ocean is power, but white sincerity, not anything that is under the waves, there is dirt, there is darkness, there is error, there is imperfection. To say, yes, I have grown out of the brute, of the animal, so some things of that are there in me, but I will try my best. I will try to be as aspirant, as perfect as I can. This is the thing, these are the things we say to ourselves. But to say that I have no element of darkness and error in me means I have changed myself totally. I have become a transformed mind, a transformed being. Pure, translucent, transparent, hiding nothing, never cheating myself. This is who she was, unlike us. Passionate, intense, strong. Not somebody who is simply working on her inner being, but putting that purity, that force, that light into the world around her, bringing into play vibrations, dreams, forces. They may take long to be realized. Even the dream that Mother has spoken of in the ashram, in Auroville, whatever we speak of, they are not the things we understand them to be. They are embodiments of divine visions. We are not even aware of what the vision is because we can't see it that way. We look at them as something that Mother has said, we want to do it, but we want to put them into execution according to our nature. And that's why we often argue with one another. We say, no, this is not what she said, this is what she said. Our understanding is limited to our minds. To be capable of receiving the truth, we have to be as vast as the truth. Therefore, it is like an ocean with no turbid, dirty, impure waves. So, this is her nature. Now, along this mind, this heart was housed in a body. Body, life and mind, the outer form of the human embodiment. So here is a description of the human embodiment, the body. It's a long sentence because there are two images. As in a mystic and dynamic dance, a priestess of immaculate ecstasies, inspired and ruled from truth's revealing vault, moves in some prophet cavern of the gods, a heart of silence in the hands of joy, inhabited with rich creative beats, a body like a parable of dawn that seemed a niche for veiled divinity or golden temple doors to things beyond. The main image is a heart of silence inhabited a body like a parable of dawn. Now, the image is that of the priestess. In the ancient days, in certain countries, like in Greece, there was the divine oracle, the divine message would come from a cave which had an opening at the top. The sunlight would fall into the cave, and just under that opening would sit the Sibyl or the priestess. She would receive the light and she would speak out the message that she had received. This would come when people went to those places. There was a temple next to it, but she would live in the cave always. And if they had difficulties and questions, they would go there and they would put forward their difficulties. She would transmit that question to the source of light. For them it was Apollo, the god of the sun, the god of light, the god of truth. And he would transmit his answer through her. She had nothing to do with the answer, she was just a transmitter. There was no possibility of twisting or changing the answer. So she would speak, sing, often dance. Her body, her life, her mind would transmit the message. People who came with questions understood according to their understanding. Usually they understood badly or wrongly. They didn't understand a thing. But she would speak out the message of the God, and that is why that connection with the truth always remained incomplete. It's mystic, hidden, spiritual. But if we are only interested in getting the kind of answer we would like to get, that's what we usually do. I ask a question to the divine and I want an answer, the kind of answer that is favorable to me. Please say, yes, I want to hear this. People never get the answer. We have to be completely selfless. There is no ego. Let thy will be done, as Mother keeps on saying, just thy will, whatever thou willest. So here the Sibyl would simply send up the message from whoever had come to the Lord. He would answer, and that answer would be passed on in her movements, in her song, in her dance. There was no person, no ego, no smallness, and therefore this is the image here. It's a mystic, spiritual, misunderstood, dynamic, very active, a priestess of immaculate ecstasies. Again, ecstasy is not just joy. Ecstasy in the ancient world meant often a person who is not exactly mad, but possessed by some other force. Pure force would possess her, take over. She would be this is the role truly of a priest. A priest calls down a force and transmits it, calls down a truth, a wisdom, a power, a love, transmits it without involving his personal nature. If he is like that, then he is truly a priest. He is an intermediary. So the avatar is also an intermediary. She transmits. She is inspired and ruled from truth's revealing vault. This is what you get, the dome or the cave above which was the opening that brought down the sunlight, which is truth. The sun is the symbol of the supreme light or the supreme truth. So you have, in Matri Mandir also, you have the sun. It's one of the symbols. It's a very ancient symbol. The sunlight coming down. You receive the light, you receive the truth, and you don't try to understand what you're going through. It will do its work in the right way. So she is transmitting that light, that truth from the vault, that is to say, the dome. Just as a priestess moves, that's the main verb, in some prophet cavern of the gods. You have the image of the Sibyl, she moves. The gods speak through her. Nobody understands. This is the whole thing. We don't understand with our minds the truth that Sri Aurobindo is transmitting to us even in Savitri. We understand according to our capacity to understand, which is very, very limited. So we reduce the truth to our size. We don't expand ourselves to receive the whole truth. We don't take that trouble. If we read properly, it is something which requires an effort to change ourselves. Every line can become an opportunity for us to change ourselves so that we can really receive what is being given. The priestess did that. So just as the priestess moved in the prophet cavern of the gods, a heart of silence, because she had nothing to say, she was only a transmitter in the hands of joy, inhabited with rich creative beats a body. The body is the dome here, the body is the physical base. Her heart lived in a body. That body is golden, beautiful. Parable here means a comparison. That which is comparable to gold or dawn or a beautiful light. This is who she was. Her body was golden, symbol of purity, symbol of something. Gold is always the symbol of the highest light or the highest truth, the supramental also, because it doesn't tarnish, it doesn't diminish, it doesn't. Mind often receives light and after a while it gets tarnished, it gets darkened, it gets limited, it gets forgotten. So you have the intermediary world. After gold you have silver, and then you have iron and lead. So you see things get rusty, as you were saying. It doesn't last. We can't hold on to that. But in her, her body was as perfect as the heart that received the power that was sent down, so it could bear the pressure of that beauty, of that truth, of that light. That body was like a niche, a place where somebody lived quietly. It's like the Sibyl used to always live in the cave. She never lived anywhere else. That was her place. So the body is a niche for veiled divinity. That is what we have forgotten. We say the body is something that is perishable. It is something that dies. Only the soul is divine. The body dies. But if the body is also made by the same power that has made your soul, why should it die? But it does. So somewhere along the way, we have accepted that in every particle of our body there is an element of inconscience, of ignorance, of imperfection. We have grown out of the mud, we have grown out of the dirt, and that element remains, and so finally there is a decay and there is a breakdown and the body dies. But if in every particle in the body, as this is the yoga of the body that Sri Aurobindo has talked about, that's one of his last writings. We remove the element of darkness, ignorance, error in every cell. Then there is no reason why it should break up. It is created by the eternal, it becomes an expression of the eternal. But somewhere along the way we say, yes, we are children of eternity, of immortality. In our souls, in our bodies, we are children of time. Time means death. Time means a beginning and an end, and that is how we are. And we have accepted that we are dual beings. Often we are plural beings. There are many elements in each of us. We forget that we are born of the one, and we should manifest only that one. That is why the yoga of Sri Aurobindo is called the yoga of transformation. It's not the yoga which helps us to release ourselves from darkness and go back to the source, like you find mukti and moksha and go back to the origin. But why should the body have to die? It has to. As yet it still has to. Because the capacity to change every element in the being, the smallest atom, the smallest cell, become a transmitter of truth and light, that is the ultimate goal. This is why it's an integral yoga. It's not the yoga of mind and life and body only. It integrates all. Everything is part of the one. And this is who she is. She is very, very different. That's why even in the later part of the story, you will find death will not dare to touch her. Death is not for her. A heart of silence in the hands of joy, inhabited with rich creative beats. See the power of every word. In all of us, the heart beats. Is every heartbeat in us conscious that we are living here, and with every minute, every second, every heartbeat, we can become a little more open to the light, to the truth, to the divine, or we live mostly automatically. So the heart beats mechanically, just as a fixed rhythm. But to make that living every second an expression of a force that wants to move into something greater, better, higher, nobler, rich, creative beats. Something that will take you to the next stage, something that will open a new, you might say, phase in our evolution, because we are evolutionary beings. We are not static beings. If we were static beings, there would be no question of doing any yoga. We are here to change, we are here to progress, and there is evolution, and evolution means moving towards something that is not yet manifested, but has the possibility of being manifested, because we have that capacity. But do we make use of it? Well, that's for each of us to answer. In all sincerity, if you answer that question and you say yes, wonderful. But if you say speak truthfully, you will say no. We don't. We don't know. It's very difficult to be sincere all the time. It's very difficult to be truly even alive all the time. To make use of every second and every minute, to put energy, to put the desire to change, to put one's aspiration at every step of our way, to live closer and closer to the divine. That is the opportunity that Prakriti has given us. This is the Mother Earth. She wants this for her children. The help has come down from above, so we can do it, but we don't. So this is why she is not like the rest. Her body was like a niche of veiled divinity. She was human, but behind it there was something not like ourselves, different, divine, without any kind of division. We are divided, she is not. Or golden temple doors to things beyond. The temple door is the starting point of the discovery of the presence that is hidden inside the temple. The body is the temple. Inside the temple, there is a presence. We take ourselves to be what we are on the outside. Even on the outside, it's a symbol that we have been given a body. The body is divine. We don't know it. We don't believe it. We don't live according to it. Just like a temple. A temple is made of stone, usually. It's a house. It's made of stone. But if that temple can house a divinity, is it less divine than the divinity that is housed in it? We have to move into the temple to discover the presence that is there, the presence of a greater consciousness. So therefore, matter is the house of the spirit. In the world of matter, body is matter. The spirit has not been imprisoned in matter. Matter is the house of the spirit, which we have tended to forget. Either you live for the body and all its satisfaction, you forget about the spirit, or you look for the spirit and you try to deny the demands of body and life and mind and concentrate on asceticism and complete austerity and say all the rest is coming in the way of my inner discovery. So if I am a spiritual man, I give up all other activities and concentrate only on the spiritual life. The spiritual life is also in the body. It can be manifested in every aspect of our work, of our movements, of our speech. We can try. We have been given the instruments. Mind, life, body are all instruments of the spirit. We can try to greaten them, to heighten them, to perfect them. That is the chance that is given to us. So again, the description of who she is, not at all like everybody else. Immortal rhythms swayed in her time-born steps. Two images, two words that are opposite, immortal and time-born. She wore a human body, she worked and moved and acted. So active mother was, we can't even imagine how many things she did. And yet, this was the home of the spirit. It moved in unison with the spirit. There was no inner clash. In us, it is not there. My body wants to do many things. It can't. The force of the spirit I cannot transmit through my body. This is what she did not do. She could transmit through her body the power of the spirit. What she did in the forest will be described later, how much she did. And yet she remained completely in touch with the essence and the source from which she came. But she did not neglect any outer work at all. She did everything for everybody in the hermitage. She looked after everybody, and everyone felt blessed, felt helped. Exactly the relationship we had with the mother. Her look, her smile awoke celestial sense even in earth stuff. Earth stuff is the substance. We are material substance. But if mother touched us, smiled at us, showed us one moment of love and blessings, for that minute we were in another world. We were no longer this small, incomplete, imperfect being that we normally are. So we are made of earth stuff. In the earth stuff there is ugliness, there is dullness, there is inertia. The basic characteristic of matter is inertia. There is inertia. There is a refusal. We can change, but we don't want to. We don't even try. We don't believe we can. But sometimes, as it happened with those of us who were fortunate enough to receive a direct contact with her, with the Divine Mother, for a while we forgot that we were small, weak, incompetent people. We were not. For a while you felt you could everything, you can do everything. There were moments which were almost magical. It reminds me of something that once I was very sick and I had to take part in a very difficult I had to act in a very difficult and tiring role, and I had very high fever. She just sent me a card and she asked me to pin it inside my blouse. And she just said, "Courage, je suis avec toi." Courage, I am with you. And there was no fever. I did my role, nobody understood that I was so sick. I had 104 fever when I started. Nothing, everything was fine. It is that touch that transcended our small human weaknesses. She was all the time there doing this for us. Always that she is with us. Je suis avec toi. Don't worry. And their intense delight poured a supernal beauty on men's lives. And so when we were close to her, just like when people were close to Savitri in the hermitage, there were others, not only Satyavan. But she looked after them, she helped them, she guided them, worked for them, and their life was a life of marvel and beauty. Not only was the backdrop of nature beautiful, but the fact that she was present among them made that world even more intensely beautiful. Why? A wide self-giving was her native act. If we compare this with the way we are, native is natural. We live for ourselves. Even when we do things for others, there is the self at the center behind the action. For her, she lived to give of herself. Like the sun's rays come down onto the earth, the sun shines for us. The love that she gives, the strength and light that she gives to man, to earth, to us. It is natural. If I have to be absolutely selfless, I have to make a special effort to remove the ego. Because if I love, I want it back. Reciprocity, I love you, but you have to love me back. I need something from you, I'll give you what I can, but you give me what you can. Here, there is no such equation. She gives. How much do we give her in return? Each of us can think of ourselves. We say we are devoted to her. Each in our own way, if we look at ourselves. Maybe we offer devotion, but there is, in our prayers, there is some asking, some kind of things that we require from her. Please give me this, please do that for me. I would be grateful if I could get your blessings, and so on and so forth. What else to do? Whom else to ask? She's the only one you can ask. But to just say, you do whatever you like with me. I've given my all to you, I'm yours, and that's it. That is extremely unusual, rare. A wide self-giving was her native act, a magnanimity as of sea and sky. Magnanimity is the same thing, wideness, greatness, opposite of pettiness and smallness, of this kind of bargain. Mother calls our human love a form of bargaining. You give, you get in return. You want more than you give. You make a good bargain. But the sea is there for all. The sky is there spread out for all. It doesn't make a bargain. A sense of eternity, a sense of infinity in the physical world is very clearly experienced by one who opens himself to standing in front of the sea. You just allow yourself to spread out into the sea. The sea is there, it was there before you, it will be there after you, it has always been there. It is eternal, it is infinite. The sky is the same. It spreads out endlessly above us and doesn't ask for any kind of notice. If you want to look at it, you do. If you don't want to look at it, you don't. You forget about it because you live only thinking about yourself. The sky still is there, spread out. The divine grace is like that. It's always there. It's above, it's around, it's within. Whether I notice it or I forget about it, it's always there. It's natural. I don't have to really, it doesn't have to wait for me to recognize it. It is always there. A magnanimity as of sea and sky, enveloped with its greatness all that came, irrespective of who you are, the great, the small, everything. That greatness, kindness, infinity, the sense of absolute, undemanding compassion, which is there always. If I recognize it, it's all right for me. If I don't recognize it, it's still there. But it envelops me. All that came. And if I could feel it, gave a sense as of a greatened world. I can grow out of my littleness when I can feel it. Her kindly care was a sweet temperate sun. That is something we have so often felt. That in our pain, because earthly life has always, there is no human life that has not felt pain and suffering. We need help, we need compassion, we need some warmth. So you have here the sun, not the blazing sun, not the huge light of the truth, but something that is quiet, gentle, warm, can cover you with its grace and love. Whenever we have difficulties, whenever we had problems, Mother would always say, just say Ma. Just repeat that. It's not a big word, and yet it's infinitely vast. It covers all problems, all difficulties. It soothes and really protects. If you can say it in all sincerity, of course. So her kindly care was that, gentle, sweet, kind, not only great and wise. There are aspects of the Mother. There is the aspect of the Divine Mother that is really wise and strong and immense and infinite, before which I feel very small. There is the other aspect of the Mother, who is my Mother, who is sweet and kind and gentle, on whose lap I put my head, and I know now I'm taken care of. And it's a very human relationship, which is nonetheless totally divine, totally perfect. Her high passion was a sweet, her high passion, a blue heaven's equipoise. So here you have the image of Maheshwari, the blue heaven's equipoise, vast, infinite, calm, undisturbed by everything, and yet the human Mother, who was gentle and sweet, she was both, simultaneously. So this is what Savitri was. Though she was physically a young girl, she was still, something in her was immense and vast and undisturbed. And he gives this image. People turn to her just like a bird when it is trapped in a storm, wants shelter, wants protection. As might a soul fly like a hunted bird, escaping with tired wings from a world of storms, and a quiet reach like a remembered breast. Birds remember their nest always. We also remember that we are children of the Divine Mother when we are in trouble. So there is a world of storms and difficulties, and a quiet reach. Sometimes you take shelter in her arms, in a haven of safety and splendid soft repose. Haven is harbor, place of shelter, and you can feel protected and safe, like a bird that has come back home. Birds have a very clear notion of what is their original home. They fly away, but when they come back from thousands of miles, exactly to the place they left. So we also have flown away from her, moved out into the world, but when there is difficulty or there is pain, there's a sense of the solution or the protection or the love or the compassion comes only from her and from nothing else and nobody else. Then life does not seem so hopeless anymore. One could drink life back in streams of honey fire, recover the lost habit of happiness, feel her bright nature's glorious ambience, and preen joy in her warmth and colors rule. The life of despair, depression, unhappiness is wiped away, and one could feel like a bird that is tired and wet and have taken shelter out of the storm, has found warmth, love, and when it is ready to fly out again, it preens its wings, shakes off the wet, and she flies, the bird flies back into the sky, wanting to live its life again, and she doesn't stop. So it is this, that protection is there, that love is there. And each of us, to each of us, she says, you do whatever you want to do, follow the line of your own growth. But I'm always there for you if you really trust her, she's always there. If you can forget your little lives, your little selves for a while and take recourse to that presence inside you, she won't stop you from making your own journey through life, because each of us has to make our own journey. Because that is what we are here from. Recover the lost habit of happiness. We are born from Ananda. We live in Ananda. We return to Ananda. Ananda is a triple term, as Sri Aurobindo says, of beauty, love and joy. Ananda is the source from which this universe is created. That source of divine creative love, which is joy, which in our experience we have translated by the word happiness. Happiness for us is when my personal self is satisfied. But when I have lost that personal happiness because of struggles and difficulties, then I cannot be happy forever. But if I can remove my ego and go back to the source from which that love and joy has come, we can recover the lost habit of happiness. We can forget that we had lost our way. Now we have come back to the source of all grace, all love. Perhaps that is one of the great blessings of difficulties and pain. The difficulty is an opportunity. Blows are like opportunities that tell us somewhere along the way you have gone astray. Find your way back. That's why you get a blow. It's a reminder. So she was like a deep of compassion. Deep, when it has an article, is like an ocean. She's an endless ocean of compassion. You don't have to deserve the mother. Who deserves the mother's grace? Nobody deserves it. But it is given. It's endless. If I just have simple, absolute love and trust and put myself in her hands, she will take up charge of her child and take me along the way, whatever path she has decided. A hushed sanctuary. Sanctuary is not only a safe place, it was also a holy place. Because in the ancient world, temples and churches and all holy buildings were supposed to be safe from all attack. Your enemy cannot follow you. They can follow you until you reach the temple. Once you enter the temple, he cannot hurt you or harm you. If I realize that I live in a temple, my being is the house of the divine, then I am free from problems and difficulties. They are like reminders that I have to remain completely turned towards that, keep that contact, keep that connection, and let her will be done. That's all. There's no threat, no problem, no difficulty that I allow myself to be bothered with. Her inward help unbarred a gate in heaven. Love in her was wider than the universe. The whole world could take refuge in her single heart. For us, the word, sometimes in one of Mother's talks she says, the word love that you all use and the word love that is in its essence are two different things completely. So I hesitate to use that word in the human relationship because love is a very common word. I love this person, I love this thing, I love this biscuit, I love. It's only I love, I want, I enjoy. I feel satisfied when I have it. To say, I love the world. Everybody today says, love the world. I love the world because I'm afraid the world is, because there is so much threat in the world around us in the form of even climate change or attacks by enemies, all kinds of things. So I'm afraid. But can I have a completely unconditional mode of loving without asking anything, without defining anything, so that I have to become as vast as the universe? I have to break down my limits, and I have not yet done it. But she did not have an ego. That's why she was as wide as the universe. The whole wide world could take refuge in one heart. And therefore, the next line, which is very surprising for many of us, the great unsatisfied Godhead here could dwell. The great God is love. And love has no home. Every heart is too small. No one knows how to love. Finally, it has found a home. It's always looking for a home. It's a homeless God, as he says. Because we are so petty, so small, we are boxed in. Tiny little corners in our being may be capable of turning to light or to love. But otherwise, selfishness and all kinds of needs and demands and vital excitement and satisfaction, pleasure, which we call love, which is not love at all. Because it is full of personal needs and satisfactions. Love is totally selfless. What has the divine to gain by loving us? He loves us because he loves us. Nothing to gain. He is everything, he is also love. He is joy, he is beauty, he is truth. He is not something that he needs to make himself happier. I need love to make myself more satisfied, more happy. If I don't have it, I feel unhappy. You see the difference? That's why Mother says the word love that you all use and the word love that is really in its essence a divine term are two entirely different things. They belong to two different planes altogether. So that divine love has really not yet found a room or a house to live in. At last he found somebody in whose heart he could live. The great unsatisfied Godhead here could dwell, vacant of the dwarf self's imprisoned air, because in her the dwarf self is not there. The dwarf self is the ego, the tiny little I, which has become a capital I. We write also I with a capital, because it fills up our whole horizon. There is no self. It is simply an act of self-giving. The sun shines not because it needs any recognition, it shines. The rays come down. The rain pours down. It doesn't ask for anything in return. We ask for returns. That's the dwarf self. Therefore, because she is like that, her mood could harbor his sublimer breath spiritual, that can make all things divine. This is what is grace. It is this breath which is prana, which is energy, which is love is power, love is wisdom, love is light. It is simply that force that can transform everything. Sequin, that is the being Savitri is. So here's the description of Savitri. She's not at all like us. She's different. Okay? We'll finish the section next time. So she is like us and not like us.